Hello, everyone, and welcome to Africa Fire Mission's weekly virtual training session. My name's Mike, and I'm the programs director here at Africa Fire Mission. We're so happy that you took time out of your busy schedules to join us for today's training. Today, we're going to be talking about communication on the fire ground. We've got Carolyn here with us to lead us in today's training. Before I pass things over to her, I'm going to pass things over to Errol Sianga. Errol is Africa Fire Mission's fire safety advocate, and he's going to get us started here with a couple words of encouragement.
Thank you very much, Mike. Chief Mike, thank you very much, everyone. Good to see you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today is all about communication, and communication is very key. How we portray ourselves and how we communicate with each other. But today's word of encouragement is just a simple verse all of us know. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. So when you believe in him each and every day, and we focus on him each and every day, and we read his word, and we communicate to each and everyone his word and through deeds and actions, and all of us will be in good faith and in good standings with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So that's our word of encouragement today as we go through our session, as we go through our day and throughout the week. Let us all focus on God in everything that we do. Thank you very much, Chief Mike.
All righty, thank you, Errol. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the advocacy that you're doing out there to help support firefighters from throughout Africa. Before we get started with today's training, let me just touch on a couple of quick administrative notes. If you stick around for at least 70% of today's training, we'll get you a certificate of attendance for today's training. If you are watching on screen with a couple other people, I think we got a group from Ghana here. Be sure that you keep your eye on the chat. I'm going to drop my email address in there in just a few moments. So you can give me a list of everybody that's watching and sharing your screen with you so I can get them their certificate of attendance as well. The name on your screen is the name that'll be on your certificate. So if you want to make an adjustment to that, please go ahead and do so. If something happens to your network, maybe you've got an emergency you've got to respond to, there's another way that you can earn that certificate. If you head over to our webpage, www.africafire.mission.org, go to the resources tab. It'll be up top or on the side, depending on how you're accessing the page. That resources tab has all sorts of great free resources for you guys, fire prevention materials and everything. But if you're interested in getting this training, there'll be a link to the 2026 trainings that'll take you to our Google Drive, where you can watch a recording of today's training or any of the other trainings that we've done so far this year. If you watch the video, answer a couple questions to let me know that you watched the whole lesson and you learned something, I can get you a certificate of attendance for that as well. So with that, let me just one last invitation at the top of the hour. We transition over into our tea time. Errol will host our tea time. Tea time is a time where you can ask questions about today's training. You can maybe network with firefighters from throughout Africa. Take a look at uh, the chat there. We've got firefighters from all over the world. So, great place to do a little networking. Tell us what's going on in your fire brigade and hear what's going on in the others. So, if you got the time and the bundles, I would invite you to stick around for tea time as well. With that, I'm going to pass things over to Carolyn to get us started with today's training.
Hi, everyone. I'm so delighted to be here this evening and morning to those who are in the United States. I'm Kiarii, a firefighter with 10 years of experience. Today, I will be speaking about fireground communication. And it is one of the most critical elements when it comes to emergency operations. We know that as firefighters, mostly we rely on communication right from receiving a distress call until the end of the operation. Therefore, I would urge all of us uh, to cooperate in this class. Yeah. So before I start the class, or I jump in direct to the presentation, I would like all of us to have a picture in our mind of maybe the most recent incident that we responded to, or that incident that is still fresh in our mind. Then we can get to ask ourselves how communication flow was like from the time of receiving the distress call, on our way to the scene of emergency, during the operations, and at the end of the operation. And therefore, I would like you to, maybe if there's something good in matters communication that you did that day, I would like us to write in the chat. Also, if there is any challenge that you encountered, I would also you write in the chat, so that as we progress with this training, some of these gaps will be looked into, and I believe we'll be in a better place. So I would like to, yeah, I can see the presentation is already here with me. Thank you, Mike, for that. So to start with, we see that effective communication is the backbone of any operation, where split-second decisions can mean the difference between life and death. We understand that firefighters, we work from very risky situations, and therefore, if we miss any information, or if any kind of information is relayed late, that means that there could be maybe confusion, there could be the risk to life, and therefore it is always good to ensure that we have the updated every information that comes in, or every update that need to be made, it has to be made in real time. Next. So what is fireground communication? We say that fireground communication is the real-time exchange of information between firefighters, incident commanders, and dispatcher during an active incident. So in a good communication system, usually it links between the public to the fire department, then the dispatcher with the responding crew, and also the responding crew to their incident commanders. And that's how we are able to ensure that we receive the exact updates, or the real-time updates, when responding to an emergency. Next. So I'll be highlighting some of the importance of effective fireground communication. And one of them is that it ensures life safety. So during an operation, we have to ensure that, for example, hazards are communicated quickly and in real time, to ensure that firefighters are well prepared, or they are aware of the situations that is happening. For example, the person who is usually very keen and very critical to information, especially during response, is usually the incident commander, or the crew commander. They have to ensure that if there is any information that need to be relayed, it has to be immediately. For example, someone can notice probably there could be a building collapse, and if that communication is delayed, it means that you are risking lives of firefighters, and therefore effective communication ensures that there is life safety during operations. So the next one is about coordination. Coordination, this one ensures that there is a coordination of actions. For example, when responding to a fire emergency, we have different crew responding to, or not really responding, or handling different chores. We usually have the team that is doing fire suppression. We have a team that maybe it's doing search and rescue. We also have a team that is ensuring that there is water supply. And therefore, if there is no good coordination, or if there is no good communication, we are sure that there will be no coordination or good coordination of this task. Let us have an example of when we are responding to fire. Let's say there is no one to, we are responding as a group of 4 people. We don't have a team leader in ourselves. Like, all of us are free to make their own orders or to relay any kind of information. Therefore, if we arrive at the scene and everyone is doing what they feel like should be done, and there is no total communication or there is no coordinated communication, what happens is that there is confusion. Even the most trained firefighters, they experience that kind of confusion, and this can lead to risk to life and also risk to property. Then the third importance of effective fireground communication is what we call situational awareness. We say that being aware of evolving situation on the fireground allows commanders to make informed decisions and adapt to their strategies as needed. Situational awareness refers to getting updates on the occurrences or what is happening at the scene. Most of the time, the incident commander relies on the information that comes from the responding crew. For example, if we have a responding crew inside and they notice that there is maybe there is a gas cylinder inside the place where they are fighting the fire, that is possibly, there could be an explosion or a gas explosion. And therefore, this communication needs to be relayed using the correct channel or using the correct chain of command. And then the incident commander, therefore, makes informed decisions and guides or tells the responding crew on what exactly to do. Then we have another importance is about resource management. Proper communication helps allocate resources efficiently and ensures that the right equipment and personnel are where they are needed most. Like I said, if there is no proper communication and everyone at the scene is freelancing or they are doing what they think they should be done without following a good communication channel or without following a good chain of command, it ensures that it shows that some of the resources that can be that can be maybe even removed from the vehicle could end up not being used. And therefore, good communication ensures that there is resource management and everyone or every equipment is where it is being needed the most. Next. I came up with an illustration on the communication process. Usually, in general communication, communication process runs from the sender to the receiver, where we have the sender encoding the message or putting the message in a way that can be understood, then sends through a channel to the receiver. Then the receiver encodes the message or interprets, then relays back to the sender. That is how we get feedback. But when I was thinking about the process or the several changes of stages of communication when responding to an emergency, I was thinking that fireground communication does not start when fighting or during firefighting. Fireground communication starts right from receiving a distress call until the fire has been extinguished, and then a post-incident. And therefore, when receiving a distress call, this is a very critical stage where the dispatcher has that they get accurate information, accurate and correct information. And how are they able to do this? One, they are guided with, we call them the 4 Ws. They are guided by the 4 Ws. The first W usually asks the question of where. Where is the emergency? And the reason as to I was thinking, the reason as to why it is very important to first ensure that you know the location of the emergency, because sometimes there could be a breakdown of communication between the caller and the dispatcher, and therefore the dispatcher will be knowing that we have an incident at a certain place. We are aware. But you can think if you start asking some other questions, maybe what is happening, what is being involved, then without getting the information of where the incident is, it means that you could be having all the information, but when the call or the communication breaks down between you and the caller, it means that there is no way you can be able to respond to that emergency. And therefore, as a dispatcher, always ensure that you know where the location of emergency is. Then from there, we have the second W. The second W answers the question of what. What is happening? What is happening? This point is very important to the responding crew, because this is where we collect information of like what is the nature of incidents, are there hazards, and therefore the responding crew is able to organize themselves well, and of course be able to know the necessary resources that they need. You can imagine being called to a fire incident, and then because you don't ask what is happening, then you can find yourself sending the wrong unit, or you can find yourself sending an ambulance into a fire incident. And that is why it is very important to know what is happening, so that you know exactly the kind of resources or the response unit that you are going to send. Then from there is a question of who is being involved. In a structural fire, there is usually a possibility that there could be people trapped in that building. And therefore, it is always good to ask who is involved. Are there people inside? Such questions prepares the mind of the responders to know that there are lives that need to be saved, and therefore it will be very necessary to organize the search and rescue team who are going to act rapidly in trying to save the life of those who are involved. Then the fourth W is a question of when. It's a question of time. Probably when did it start? When we receive a distress call, it is always good, especially when it is a fire. When there's usually that time that you know there's a possibility that you are going to save something. If you receive a distress call, for example, right now we are at 16:21 hours East African time. If you ask when the incident started, and then someone gives a time like it started an hour ago, there's a possibility that already you have a picture in your mind, like how you are going to fight the situation. Fire burning for one than an hour, it means that probably it will be fully fully developed stage. And therefore, the question of when, it is also very necessary. Then one thing the dispatcher needs to note or needs to do is to ensure that they they are able to confirm again the information from the caller. So don't be there asking all the questions. And the caller usually, in most of the times, they are in like they are stressed or they are nervous. And therefore, it is upon you to ensure that you confirm all the information that you have received, so that you know that the information that you're going to relay back to the responding crew, it is the correct information. And this is achieved through ensuring that you are able to ask about the 4 Ws. Then we have the en route communication. What kind of information or what kind of communication is necessary when the team is responding to an incident? So it is usually very important to ensure that you maintain communication between the responding crew and the dispatcher. Why? There are usually updates that comes up when we are responding. For example, many times I've seen our team responding, and then in the process, the caller calls back to the control room and tells them that the fire has been put out. And therefore, you can imagine if there is no that, you are not able to maintain the communication between the responding crew and the dispatcher. It means the team is going to travel all the way to the scene of incident. And again, they will find that maybe the fire has already been put out. You can imagine if this communication was relayed on time, there could not have been maybe the waste of resources, or therefore, especially in Kenya. I can give an example of here in Kenya, where I am based is in Murang'a County. We have only 3 fire stations, and therefore, if a team from the headquarter station is dispatched to a scene of emergency, that is 40 minutes drive, and then the fire is put out on their way to the scene of emergency, then there is no that communication, or the control room fails to make that communication. It means that they will travel all the way, all the 40 minutes to the place. But if another emergency comes, just a place near the fire station, you see, then they will have to travel another 40 minutes back to come and respond to this other incident. And therefore, it means that there's a possibility that there will be loss of property. And if there are people trapped, and we also risk their lives. And therefore, it is always good to ensure that you maintain that communication between the dispatcher and the responding crew. Another kind of information that we received en route to the scene of emergency is the updates on the hazards or the changes in situations. For example, the caller may make another call to the control room and tell them there were LPG cylinders inside, and some of them have started exploding. And that is very critical information to the responding crew. And they will know, they will be able to know that for them not to risk their lives, then there is a way they are supposed to prepare themselves. You don't go and start getting maybe into the building where explosion is happening. Then from there, we have the other stage of communication is on-site communication. This is communication that is made when we arrive at the scene of emergency. Usually, we have the crew commander who goes and performs a scene size-up or a 360 scene size-up. So the kind of information that they are going to find out, that is what they relay back to the dispatcher, and they are able to know if there could be more resources needed, or do we need a backup team to come. And the message or the situation report that is given by the dispatcher has the information of like what is the type of incident. Like you get to confirm the information that you are given by the dispatcher, it is the exact information that you are finding in the ground. For example, if it is a fire incident, the crew commander can make a communication to the dispatcher, tell them, we have a one-story building on fire, the first floor, and there is visible maybe smoke and fire. So, and this one helps the incident commander or the crew commander to come up with an action plan on how the situation is going to be handled. And also to know if there are additional resources that will be required. Then after that, communication, fireground communication does not end when the fire has been extinguished. No, fireground communication continues until post-incident debrief has been conducted. At the end of this presentation, I'll be touching in details about the post-incident debrief. Next. Next slide. Then we have the principles of effective communication. So for you to ensure that you have communicated effectively, your information need to have several characteristics, or need to have these principles. Usually call them the 7 C's of communication. Maybe you can also use different words to explain the same, but for today, I'm going to use the 7 C's of communication. Next. The first C of communication is conciseness. Concise meaning brief. In formal communication, you should be very careful about briefness or conciseness of the message, as brevity is one of the principles of formal communication. Also, it is one of the important elements for effective communication. So by being concise, you ensure that your message is brief or it is not wordy. So when you make a very long communication, especially during response, or when you are passing information maybe to your fellow crew or to the incident commander, then you make your statement too long, it means that those people are likely to miss on some of important information. And also, when you're using radios, and then you get to make a very long statement, there is a possibility that there could be what we call radio congestion. For example, there could be someone else who could be relaying information, and then because of your long statement, then you are going to miss on another important message that could be passed. Therefore, it is always good to ensure that your message is brief and straight to the point. Or maybe in simple terms, I can say that you avoid using unnecessary words, or without that is, you avoid using unnecessary words without your statement losing its meaning. So the other C is correctness. Correctness means the accuracy of thoughts, figures, and words. If the given information is not correctly conveyed, the sender will lose reliability. So while communicating, we should be careful about the correct use of grammar, the message composition, and appropriate words. Successful communication depends on the correct use of language. So when it comes to correctness, for example, right now we are working. We have our colleagues across different ages. We have those who are very young, and we have those who are quite older. And therefore, in Kenya, the young ones are calling themselves the Gen Zs. So if they choose to use their own language, that maybe the other person is not able to understand, or let me call it the slang language, there could be breakdown of communication, and therefore the other person may not get the information correctly as it could have been intended. And therefore it is always good to ensure that we are correct either in grammar or in the choice of words. Next. The other point is about concreteness. By being concrete, it means being specific, like not communicating in general. Concreteness is an important aspect of effective communication because it ensures that like you are straight to the point. For example, I can give an example of when I'm passing information to my colleague and tell them, for example, I'm trying to figure out a good example that I can get that I can give. For example, we have the pump operator. When they are giving back information, they need to be very specific that we have used this amount of water, the exact amount of water, and how much is remaining. For example, if I want to tell the people at the branch that we have little water remaining, I have to be specific that we have this amount, or the quarter tank, half tank, or like you have to give very specific information to ensure that the message is arrived to the receiver correctly, and they get it there so that they are able to make informed decisions. The other point is about clarity. What is clarity? So when we talk of clarity, we say that the message should be very clear and straightforward. Like you don't want to give a message, like you give a message that is hidden in another message. You have to go straight to the point. You have to ensure that there is clarity of thought, and your objective of communication has been well communicated. So next. Then we have completeness. Effective communication depends on the completeness of the message. So by completeness, you need to ensure that your message is well communicated, is short, or it is brief without losing the meaning. For example, it has to say what needs to be done, who needs to do it, and how it is supposed to be done. For example, if a crew commander wants to give information during an operation, and then they just say, lay 2 delivery horses, without even specifying who is going to do that, how, and to where the delivery horses need to be laid. And therefore, if you just say that, the message is not complete, and someone may, even if someone fails to do it, like you don't have a good ground to tell them, why are you refusing to do this? And I already told you. Like you are not specific who exactly needs to do what you need to be done. So the next point is about consideration. By consideration here, it means you need to know the people you are working with well, and then you need to even protect their emotions and feelings. For example, if someone is, or maybe the crew commander fails to consider when talking to their team members and just tells them, for example, maybe harsh words in front of the public or in front of everyone else who is at the scene, it means that this person, in as much as they are going to do what they have been told, someone already hurt their feelings, and therefore there is that feeling of not being included in the team. And at the end of the operation, there could be maybe this person fails to perform in a better way, or in a way that they could have done if there was no that kind of communication. So the next part is about courtesy. Courtesy means polite behavior, or while communicating, everybody should show politeness towards others. It facilitates communication. The polite message helps to strengthen relationships. This is something that I don't want to say like it's something that I have ever witnessed, but it is something that I know it happens. Sometimes when someone, maybe they are working under pressure and they want to relay a certain information, they might find themselves maybe giving instructions in a way that is not courteous. So what happens with this one? The relationship between the person who is conveying the message and the receiver, they are likely not to be in so good terms. And therefore, it is always good to ensure that whenever you are relaying any kind of information, always be calm and ensure that you remain professional. Next. Channels of fireground communication. So the first channel of fireground communication is what we call radio communication. We say that radio communication is the primary means of communication usually used between the responding crew, the incident commander, and the dispatcher. So to radio, they allow firefighters to communicate with the rest of the team members. And therefore, one important thing that needs to be ensured when communicating through the radio is what we call the radio discipline. So you have to ensure that that your message is, one, it is concise, it is clear, and it is correct. So you don't want to communicate on a radio like you are communicating on your normal phone. Why? There is something that we were talking about, that is the radio congestion. There is a possibility that you are going to block some other important messages that could be coming in. And therefore, always ensure that you maintain radio discipline. So about radio communication again, radios are very important because they are able to withstand firefighting conditions. Like even when the firefighting ground is maybe smoky, there is no clear visibility, radio communication will still do because it can withstand all those barriers, or some of those barriers. Then we have the hand signals. Hand signals, mostly it is used in areas where like verbal communication is not possible, or it has been deterred by various conditions. For example, when we are working on very noisy grounds, mostly from maybe the equipment, the noise from the community, or maybe the apparatus that we are wearing. For example, the breathing apparatus can deter us from communicating effectively through verbal communication. And therefore, in this case, the hard signals comes in. And some of the hard signals that we use mostly is for like water on. When someone raises their hand, I don't know if it is done differently from how we do it here, then you know that person is saying water on. And most of the cases, water on is all the hand signals are accompanied by verbal communication, or the verbal communication becomes like a backup to the hand signal. We also have other hand signals like knock off and make up. There is that sign that when I perform a certain sign, my colleagues already know that I'm saying knock off, and this kind of communication needs to be standardized. Like everyone needs to know these signs, and they are well trained about them, because when you use a certain sign and your colleague is not aware of it, then that is another barrier of communication, or there will not be effectiveness when it comes to communication. So another channel of communication is what we call face-to-face communication. So that this is the one of the most effective method on fireground. The reason is we are able to get instant feedback. It is usually clear and direct. For example, when I need to pass information to my colleague, I'm able to even read their expressions. I will receive instant messages, and therefore it means that there will be no freelancing. Because when you are talking over the radio, someone can just assume, like, either they can assume they didn't hear you, or you may think that you already relayed information, but it was not received. But when it comes to face-to-face communication, you are able to know that the command or the information that you have given, it is clear and needs to be acted upon. Also, face-to-face communication is very important when it comes to passing on the command. For example, when maybe a person who is at a higher rank than you, and you need to pass command to them, it is usually very important that you do it face to face, because command is usually passed to the person who is on the ground. You don't pass command to a person who is not at the scene, maybe unless under very special cases. But usually command is passed to a person who is right there at the scene. And therefore, face-to-face communication helps you give a clear update of how the operation has been. And therefore, the person who is taking command already knows everything, or has the first-hand information of exactly what is happening at the scene. Next. Something else is about the incident command, or incident command system. So incident command system, it is the standardized management used to coordinate response to incidents, including fires. So incident command system is a channel of fireground communication, ensures that information is passed through a certain hierarchy. Like everyone knows their responsibility, they already know who they are supposed to communicate to, and of course, maybe what needs to be communicated. For example, in a fire incident, usually we have the response crew, or the firefighting crew who are doing the job. We have the crew commander, then we have the incident commander. So when a firefighter notices something, and they know that it needs to be communicated, usually they do it through a chain, or what we call a chain of command. The information is relayed to the crew commander, then crew commander relays that information to the incident commander to ensure that maybe the incident commander is able to have the current update of the situation, and therefore it helps them make informed decisions where they need to be done. So the other channel of communication is Mayday signals. So Mayday signals, in other words, we can call them emergency signals. And maybe to understand what is a Mayday or what is a Mayday is a distress call used when a firefighter is in trouble or lost. So it is a standardized protocol that triggers immediate response to the trapped firefighter. So yeah, next. Standardized protocols when it comes to fireground communication. The first one is what we call a Mayday protocol, or how a distress by a firefighter needs to be relayed, or an emergency needs to be relayed. First is to ask ourselves, who is supposed to declare a Mayday? A Mayday can be declared by anyone. For example, if a firefighter finds them in danger, they don't have to follow a certain channel to pass that information. That is an emergency. And therefore, they can declare a Mayday anytime, even when the incident commander is not aware. And therefore, when they do it, they ensure that the incident commander is aware of what is happening. So in Mayday protocol, usually follow something that we call the LUNA format. LUNA standing for L, standing for location. When you find yourself in a distress as a firefighter, first you need to ensure that you clarify on the location that you are in. Where are you located at that moment? Then we have the unit. Are you the search and rescue team? Are you the fire suppression team? Then you need to identify your name. Who are you? Then something else that is very important is that you need to tell the status of the air supply that you have. Then something else is about the resources needed. What do you need, or what has happened, and what kind of help do you require? Then the second protocol is what we call the fireground protocol, fireground traffic. This protocol establishes a common terminology for communicating on the fireground, ensuring that everyone understands commands and instructions. Fireground traffic is that language or a standardized language that everyone is aware of, or that everyone understands. Next. The size-up reports. A size-up report, this one is usually given by the first officer at the scene. They need to give a concise, standardized report on arrival at an incident. Earlier, I had explained how a size-up report should look like. Like they need to say what the location, what is happening, what are some of the action plan that they have come up, or if they need additional resources. Also, the number of victims, are there any exposures? Or this is the first report that is given by the first officer on the ground, usually to the incident commander or to the dispatch unit. Then we have the rapid intervention crew communication protocol. The rapid intervention crew or team deployed to the rescue trapped firefighters. To rescue trapped firefighters use a standardized communication to coordinate their efforts and share vital information. Like they have their own standardized communication that they use when they are trying to save someone, or a firefighter who is in danger, or someone who has asked or have declared a Mayday. Next. Post-incident debrief. So this is the last, I can say the last stage of fire ground communication. Post-incident debrief, it is a structured discussion after an emergency that allows response team to review what happened during operation in order to improve future responses. So this is a very critical area because it helps us get to understand what we did right, what we did wrong, and how do we improve on our future responses. A debrief can be divided into two. We have the emotional debrief, and we can have the technical debrief. The technical debrief mainly focuses on the job or the technical part or the tactics that we are used during a response. The kind of equipment that we used, how we were able to coordinate our actions, was it well? How can we improve our maybe coordination or that part of the operation, the technical part of operation. Then we have the emotional debrief. This one focuses on the mental wellness of the responding crew. You need to know, like, emotionally, how the other firefighters were able to, how they were affected, and then get to know or to come up with a plan on how to help them be able to maybe to overcome whatever they are going through. Therefore, this part it enables the firefighters to be better. Like it helps them become better during their future responses. Next. Then challenges in fireground communication. What are some of the challenges that we encounter? We know that firefighters work in a very, maybe in a very noisy and maybe not so good environment, and therefore all these all these things affect how communication is done. And one of the challenge is noise and chaos. Noise is usually from maybe the equipment. We have the engines running, we have the community, we have even the water flowing, and therefore these things deter or make communication difficult, especially when it is verbal communication. And I would say that when we are during fireground operations, we try to have more than one communication channels. We can have the radio, we can have the hand signals, we can as well have the face-to-face communication, so that when one of the channel of communication fails, then we can always bounce to the other one that we have, or other options that we could be having. Then we have limited feasibility. Limited feasibility, this is usually because of the smoke. Sometimes we are working at night, so there is darkness. Sometimes we have even the hazardous conditions that can limit our feasibility, thereby making our visual and nonverbal communication hard. Then we have the radio signals problems. So radio signals can suffer interference, mostly from dense metallic environment in building or thick walls, underground spaces, tunnels, causing broken transmissions or loss of communication. There could be a breakdown in communication when there are these interruptions, or communication can be interfered with completely. So another challenge is about congested radio channels. This one mostly happens when we have several units, or what we call multi-agency response. When we have so many agencies responding, there is a possibility that there could be congestion, or what we call radio congestion. And therefore, usually advise that in such situations, we get to identify several channels where every responding unit, they have their own channel of communication so that to reduce on the congestion. Next. Another one is personal protective equipment. For example, we have the breathing apparatus. Usually, it muffles our voices. When you're wearing your SCBA, even communication or verbal communication, it is not it is not so easy for someone else to be able to hear you. Then we also have things like we have this mask where we insert the filters. Also that one, anything that covers your face, it makes verbal communication difficult. Then we have rapid changing fire conditions. Fireground situation can change rapidly, requiring constant updates to ensure all teams have accurate and current information. So rapid change of situations, it is one challenge during fireground operations because you have to be very quickly, or you have to have a very effective communication system that allows you to communicate any update in real time. Then we have poor radio discipline. This one is usually caused by or interrupted transmissions. For example, when someone needs to pass information through the radio, someone may be already pressing the push to talk button, but they had not thought of what they need to say. And so what happens, if there could be any other information that was coming in, there is that interruption that you are not able to get the information because already someone has already interrupted the transmission. So what I can say is that when you want to communicate over the radio, always ensure that first you organize your thoughts, know what you want to say and to who. Then when you want to transmit, first, when you press the push to talk button, first you need to pause for a second or two to ensure that you have cleared like there is no congestion, or you have captured the attention. Then after you've said everything that you wanted to say, before releasing the button, ensure that you again wait for a second or two, then release to ensure that all the information has been relayed. Next. Overcoming these fireground communication challenges. To overcome those challenges, one needs to use a clear and standardized communication. By standardized communication is that communication that everyone understands. Then maintain radio discipline. Ensure that when you're communicating through the radio, you already know what you want to say before pressing the push to speak button. Then regular training and drill. Like you cannot like wake up one day, go to the fire scene and you are excellent in fireground communication. It is through trainings and drills that we become better in communication. Then assign a communication channel for the incident. So when we are responding, or every time we are changing the shift, or every morning when manning the equipment, ensure that you have a selected channel that all the radios need to be under one channel. And this is the work of maybe the crew commander to get together with their team to ensure that all radios are under the same channel, because you don't want to respond to an emergency, then everyone is on their own channel, then there will be no communication. Then we have use reliable and well-maintained equipment. Ensure that you man your equipment well, the radios, the communication gadgets at the dispatch center should be well maintained. Then establish a clear command structure. Ensure that the chain of command or any information flows under a structured chain of command. Then confirm and repeat critical messages. The reason is why we want to confirm and repeat because we want to ensure that we have received the correct information. Then use-to-face communication where possible. Like I said, face-to-face communication is one of the most effective communication because one, you are able to get instant feedback, thereby knowing you are able to know whether the receiver got the message as you had intended. Next. This brings us to the end of the presentation. And I can say that effective communication in general ensures that safety is guaranteed, or maybe safety is taken care of. There is coordination of actions, and therefore leading to a successful firefighting operation. So I come to the end of my presentation, and I would like to hand over back to Chief Mike. Thank you.
All right, excellent job. Lots of great information there. We're going to open the floor to take a few questions, but I'm going to sort of wrap up the formal portion of our training here as we are at the top of the hour. Just with a big thank you to Carolyn for coming and sharing her knowledge on this topic. Did an awesome job. Super happy to have her here on the team. And thank you to all of you out there that took the time out of your schedules. We don't take for granted the fact that you're on your own time, sometimes using your own bundles, trying to better yourself so that you can better your communities. Um, awesome. Glad to have you all here. There are plenty of seats available. If you know someone who may benefit from this training, feel free to invite them along to share your screen or to share your registration link, and they can come join on their own. With that, we'll wrap the formal portion. If you've got the time in the bundles, please stick around for tea time, and I hope to see you all again next week.